You're looking at a wall, a cloud, a burnt piece of toast. And then, suddenly, there's a face. Not a perfect one, just two dots in a line. Eyes, a nose, a mouth. You know, it's not really there. But for a split second, your brain insists that it is. The strange part isn't that this happens. The strange part is that it happens to almost everyone. So why does your brain keep inventing faces where none exist? The answer begins millions of years before mirrors, before paintings, before language itself. It begins with survival. Imagine you're walking through a forest. 200,000 years ago, the wind moves the leaves, branches sway. Somewhere in the shadows, something might be watching you. You don't have time to carefully analyze every shape you see. Your brain has to make a decision immediately. Is that just a bush? Or is it another human? Or worse, a predator? If your brain hesitates for even a second too long, you might not get another chance. So evolution solved the problem in an interesting way. It made your brain incredibly sensitive to faces, even if it meant making mistakes. Because throughout history, seeing a face that wasn't really there was far less dangerous than missing one that was. A false alarm costs almost nothing. Missing the real threat could cost everything. Two evolutionary psychologists, Marty Hasselton and David Buss, gave this idea a name. They called it error management theory. The logic is simple. When one kind of mistake is far more expensive than the other, evolution doesn't build a brain that aims to be right. It builds a brain that aims to make the cheaper mistake. And mistaking a shadow for a face is about as cheap as a mistake can get. Scientists have a word for the result: pareidolia. It's the tendency to see meaningful patterns in random information. Most often, faces. It's why people see animals in clouds. It's why the man in the moon has existed in stories across cultures for thousands of years. And once someone points the face out, you can't stop seeing it, because your brain has already committed. What's fascinating is just how little information your brain actually needs. Two dark spots, a line underneath. That's often enough. And this isn't something you learn. In a now classic experiment, the psychologists Mark Johnson and John Morton showed the point beautifully. They tested newborn babies, some only minutes old. They moved two simple patterns past each infant. One had 3 blobs arranged like 2 eyes and a mouth. The other had the very same blobs, just scrambled. The newborns turned their heads and eyes to follow the face-like pattern further than the scrambled one. Think about that. Before they've learned language, before they've learned what a face even is, their brains are already searching for them. Face detection isn't something you spend years learning. It's one of the oldest pieces of software your brain comes with. Deep inside your brain is an area with a very specific job. In the 1990s, a neuroscientist at MIT named Nancy Canwisher pinned it down. She called it the Fusiform Face Area. Its job is surprisingly narrow. Recognize faces. Not trees, not cars. Faces. It works so quickly that you often become aware of the face after your brain has already identified it. That's why the experience feels automatic. You don't decide to see the face, your brain shows it to you. And here is the experiment that proves just how far this goes. In 2014, a team led by a researcher named Kang Lee tried something wonderful. They put people inside a brain scanner and showed them pure visual noise, random static. Nothing there at all. But they told each person that half the images secretly contained faces. People reported seeing faces about a third of the time. In static. In nothing. And every time they did, the fusiform face area lit up, as if a real face were sitting right in front of them. Your brain wasn't lying to you. It genuinely saw a face that was never there. Here's the twist. Your brain isn't really trying to recognize faces. It's trying to recognize people. A face means information. Friend, enemy, family, danger, safety. Someone who's angry, someone who's smiling, someone who needs help. Humans became one of the most social species on Earth. Reading faces became one of our greatest superpowers. So, evolution kept making the system faster, even if it occasionally became too fast. That's why electrical outlets sometimes look surprised. Cars seem to smile. Houses appear to frown. The front of your refrigerator has a personality. And this is more than a figure of speech. Two researchers in Australia, Colin Palmer and Colin Clifford, discovered something strange about these fake faces. A face you spot in an object doesn't just sit there. It can seem to look in a direction, to pay attention, to feel, because it's tripping the very same machinery your brain uses to read a real human face. To your brain, the smiling car is for a moment genuinely looking back. Once you notice it, it's impossible not to. Your brain keeps connecting the dots, literally. Even modern artificial intelligence struggles with this problem. Computer vision systems have spent decades trying to recognize faces accurately. For you, it often takes less than 1/10 of a second. Sometimes, we're even better than the machines. Other times, we're fooled by random shapes that no computer would ever mistake for a person. That tells us something important. Your brain wasn't designed to be perfectly accurate. It was designed to keep you alive. Those are very different goals. The same system that helps you recognize your best friend across a crowded room is the same system that makes you wave back at someone who wasn't actually waving at you. The same system that spots your child's face instantly is also responsible for seeing faces in mountains, trees, coffee foam, and burnt toast. It's wonderfully imperfect, but that's exactly how evolution intended it. So the next time you notice a face staring back at you from a cloud or a rock or the front of your car, remember this. You're not imagining things because your brain is broken. You're imagining them because your brain is incredibly good at one job, finding other humans, even when there aren't any to find. Because for nearly every moment of human history, seeing one face too many was a much safer mistake than seeing one too few. Your brain isn't weird. It's ancient. Thanks for watching Brainstorm Bob. If this made you think, hit subscribe for more curiosity, ideas, and real answers. See you in the next one.